Find out why residents of one state might have to pay back their unemployment money, why one state completely failed to notify victims of unemployment, and why those who lost their jobs from not getting may get benefits after all, how residents of one state have been waiting on their unemployment checks for over a year, and how the state is looking deeper into it, and how one state is showing some very conflicting unemployment numbers. And now that has come to a reality. The Ohio Labor Department found that nearly $13 billion worth of unemployment overpayments. One Boise man, William Thers, and he was bombarded by collection notices in the mail. Thers said, quote, I filled out the web page just as it said. I didn't lie about anything. And now they're saying that I wasn't eligible in any way whatsoever, and I owed them $12,000 that they paid out to him. He went on to say, quote, I should have had to set up a payment plan or go to pay back any of this kind of money, especially because it was from the federal government to assist the families and people that were out of work. Residents aren't able to fill out the waiver. They are still able to dispute the claim through a hearing. Ohio's Labor Department recommends reaching out to them if you received any of these notices to see if they've made a mistake, because they make mistakes too. They're people too. Meanwhile, different states may have fumbled completely when it came to unemployment, like so many states did. 30-year-old systems, human beings, and trying to get other human beings money, right? Like in many states, Ohio has struggled with unemployment. Even the state has paid out security firms millions of dollars. Most of the victims were completely unaware of what happened, despite that the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services has worked diligently to ensure it doesn't happen to anyone else. They're trying so hard. Ohio doesn't actually notify residents if they're fallen victim to the fraud. You probably get a tax form in the mail saying you owe some taxes on this money. Maybe you got that form, right? A Job and Family Services spokesman, Bill Teese, said that it can be, quote, very difficult to determine who or what or how to contact someone, end quote. Another issue is that just plain difficult to find who's behind the, obviously, that's how they're able to get away with it. Teese explained, quote, the claim made some computer that has had multiple claims made from its suspicion, but many people use a shared computer at the library to file legitimate claims, end quote, which would have the same MAC address, right? So a computer has a address, like an IP address, which is where it is, and then it has a MAC address, which is like the computer, and if 10 or 20 people are using that same computer, kind of looks like, right? Well, it's a shared computer. Sometimes people just go by different names, T said, quote, how do you know who somebody is, whether they're using their maiden name, somebody using their nomen plurum, or some other paper that they're saying, well, just contact somebody. But if it looks 100 to thousands of these potential claims, I would think it would be very difficult to do. Guys, confusing is, very confusing information, right? If you're confused, you're probably, he's confused. So how does Ohio residents find out about victims of, how do you file an unemployment? Well, you will likely receive income tax forms, like I mentioned above, at your home address. If they're filed in your name, it's possible that you'll get one sent directly to you. If you get one and you didn't file for unemployment, this is a red flag. That's a telltale sign to let you know. I'd contact the Department of Jobs and Family Services if it were me, and you should probably do it as well. And also, you'll want to check anywhere in the entire country. If you get a tax form and you didn't file for unemployment, you definitely need to reach out and contact them. Meanwhile, there's been a lot of news surrounding people who are, and likelihood of them not getting unemployment. It was pretty much settled that those who lost their jobs due to them not getting would not qualify for unemployment. Or was it? According to Benjamin Yorkman, a board-certified expert in labor and employment law in Bonita Springs, if you passed because of the medical concerns, you might be in the clear. Yorkman explained, quote, because your separation of employment is by no cause of your own, end quote. Yorkman says that the Labor Department will be forced to look at each of these on a case-by-case basis. Remember, this is only if you did not receive due to medical reasons, like a legit reason, like it could, you got issues. Still, I'd love to hear your comments about what you guys think. Next up, let's talk about unemployment in Georgia, where I just did an Ironman, literally like last Sunday, a week from today. Or a week from yesterday. It's been over a year since folks have been receiving the federal unemployment benefits. At least most people have been receiving them. For the folks in Georgia, it's been kind of a mess. It's been really a mess. In fact, the good people of Georgia have been putting up a fight with the Georgia Department of Labor Commissioner Mark Butler. Responded, quote, please understand, I want everyone out there to understand, not everybody who applies for unemployment is eligible for unemployment, end quote. Sadi Plastenzers says he lost, Sadi, I guess is his name, says that he lost his job in March due to, and when he applied for unemployment, he was told he wasn't eligible for a lack of work. Sadi said, quote, so I sent them my tax form to show them that I've been working because I wouldn't be getting any money this year or actually owe it if I wasn't working, end quote. After some back and forth between him and the department that lasted a year, and many of you have been doing the exact same thing, Butler said, quote, they didn't prove any wages back. So if it truly has wages and he actually did work there, if it's true, then he needs to find out what's going on and why it didn't report his wages. Clearly, there's still a lot of confusion in Georgia. If you were denied unemployment and you feel that it's wrong, or if you were without answers altogether, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to do what Sandy did. Talk to HR. Talk to your employer, make sure they reported it, currently or former, and then talk to the Department of Labor, because sometimes they reach back to an old employer, wherever you worked longer at, to see who they're gonna hit, tap into their accounts. There's a chance that it was either a mistake or you did not provide significant information, or maybe your employer was off on your social security number or something like that. So you wanna make sure you clean that up. Finally, Nebraska is showing some strange unemployment numbers, and we gotta talk about it. The state has seen the country's best unemployment rate of 2.2%. For some reason, though, restaurants are having to close down due to the lack of the workforce. Gary Person, president and CEO of North Platte Area Chamber and Development Corporation, said, quote, one of the first things I hear from people is, where did the workers go? Where did they go? There's no magic answer because no one has been able to figure it out nationwide, end quote. It turns out that unemployment rates aren't showing the big picture. Even after businesses offer double the state's minimum wage, the labor shortage continues. There's no definitive answer, as it's been happening and it's gonna happen. But one thing is for sure, cutting unemployment did not bring people back to the workforce. In fact, it made everyone reevaluate their worth. Some Nebraska restaurants are reporting people getting a job with them, only to immediately leave when they find a better paying job in another company, despite being hired. It's a very competitive job market, but not in the way that it normally is. A lot of people aren't returning to work, so businesses offering more competitive salaries and benefits to workers to get them to come in. They're the ones rejecting the jobs for something much better, right, that they could get. It's too early to tell, but do you guys think the signs are in positive growth? People are still obviously struggling to make ends meet, so this is another reason to continue unemployment after all. What do you guys think? I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Also, you're entering to win that $2,000. If you still haven't applied for unemployment assistance, get a head start on the week and apply today. In most states, it's still time to get that back payment so that you can get those benefits by visiting your unemployment insurance website. Upload your employment history, do the verification. A lot of states require 3D recognition with ID.me. Fill out the application, and as generally as possible, be honest and truthful. Answer those questions, and you can get a backdated unemployment check for thousands of dollars. At this point, the PUA, we still don't know if it's open. Would love to hear from you guys, but we haven't seen it. Make sure you keep checking back there because they promised they were going to open it for gig workers.